And we are back. Thank you so very much for choosing to stay with us. We're very much honored, and it does feel very good to be in your company in this very hour. Now, we promised you an expert who's going to talk to us on all matters fruit farming and soil testing, and now it's time for us to pay the debt. Now, we are joined by Derek Ngege, who is a soil testing expert.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for making time. We're so honored to have you with us right now.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that has already taken me by surprise is the fact that you're very young. With your permission, you're 24 years old and you are already an expert when it comes to agriculture and soil testing, to be precise. As a young person, what motivated you to get into the space of agriculture?
Well, beginning is the background I'm coming from. So I grew up in a farm. So everything I knew was all about farming. And as usual, if you grew up in farming, you want to run away from farming. I've got a very good mentor who told me, you know, you're a nice engineer, you've done amazing good work in the health space. You can help this country, especially in the agriculture space. And he took me into his farm and said, we have this big problem. Which technologies can we develop around this? And that's what lit my passion in agriculture.
So far, so good. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, really. I'm enjoying it. I love, something about the agriculture is not boring. It's not somewhere you stay, you're in the field, you're working out, you're seeing new things, and you're getting to explore a lot. I'm loving it.
Great.
Kuna mahali umesema kwamba wewe ni mwanzilishi wa Shamba Solutions na vile vile afisa mkuu mtendaji. Kuwa CEO kwa miaka yako unahisi vipi bwana?
Ni a responsibility which you're not ready to, at our age you were relaxed, you have so much to learn, so it comes with a very great burden. Wakati ule unastahili kujua how do you run things, learning the industry, how things are going. So it comes in its own, it's a huge title, but comes a lot of responsibility and forces you to mature faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, jumping into the agenda of the day, we are going to be talking about fruit farming and also joining it with soil testing. In the feature today, Martin Duragu spoke about how fruit farming is not as tedious and not too demanding. Because you're an expert and you have been in that field, we'd like for you to confirm how true that is, and also how do you strike a balance so that you don't find yourself neglecting the fruit trees in the name of, they're not too tedious, they don't need a lot of work. Please help us understand the balance.
So just give an example. Dairy, which is also very good, but you have to milk every morning and every evening, and somewhere miding the day, and you have to fend for the cows. Come to crops, which seasonal crops, beans, maize, you have to till the land after every 3 months, weed after every, that period, harvest. But when it comes to fruits, it's very easy. So they have their particular season, they mature. So what you need is to take care of them at the beginning. As been told, you need to water at least once or twice a week, depending the area you are in. So you see that is not as heavy as weeding, and because most of these fruit, they are trees, then they are quite resilient to weeds. So just once in a while kind of thing. So the way to balance is creating a passion to what you love, because I know most of the people who do fruit farming, you find them roaming in their farms. Just anakata hii, that anazungua tu napanga, akiona ile is not good anakapa. Takes a short time.
Okay. Sasa kuna mtu ambaye umezungumza kuhusiana na maji vile vile. Tukimsikiliza yule bingwa akasema kitu kimoja, maji ambayo yanahitajika kutumika yasiwe na chumvi, hasa kwa tufaa au apples. Mbona swala hilo linajitokeza?
Inajitokeza kwa sababu ya kuna kitu inaitwa ukali. Ukali, which is also, we know it as the pH. So ukua udongo wako uko mkali sana, now that means a lower pH, inamaanisha uko somewhere below 5 and below, inaanza kulimit how the plant absorb these nutrients. Kama tukiekelea chakula hapa, tuweke chumvi mingi, unasikia kina ladha hakina, unapata the same ina happen kwa mimea. So to watch that kind of complication, to see make mchango wetu usikue mkali mno, make sure unatumia maji ambayo yana chumvi nyingi. Kama yana chumvi mingi, angalia kuna different ways which you can mitigate, kama kutumia lime, gypsum na pia biochar.
Now that you're speaking about pH, we are deep into the conversation of soil testing.
Yes.
Now, because you're in that field, please help us understand how disseminated are your services for that farmer who's completely deep in the rural areas. If they want to try out a new venture, try a new fruit, a new crop, whatever it is that they're trying to do, and they want to get their soil tested so they know what to do. How available, how easily available, accessible are you guys? So
one of the reasons actually that motivated me to get into the field of soil testing, the reason that this service is rarely available. We have countries where that is standard. They do soil testing before they do any type of planting. So I went back even when we were growing up and we were farming potatoes, and I was asking myself, you start on a land, then you plant, high season, first season, very high yields, then they go diminishing. And the problem, why didn't we test our soils? Is because of the availability of this service. And I'm glad I'm speaking this for the first time in public. On Wednesday, we are going to launch our service where we have our portable soil testing devices, and I'm calling out to agronomists, agrovets outside there. They can get these devices. They'll be able to disseminate this information further to the farmers at very, very affordable prices and get their soil testing results right then when they take their soil, no waiting time.
Yeah. Umezungumza tena ukasema kwamba kuna mataifa ambayo yanaruhusu kufanywa kupima kwa udongo kabla ya kufanyika chochote. Bado sisi tupo nyuma. Tufanyeje ili tupate hayo yote yawe masharti ambayo lazima tuzingatie kabla tuende shambani?
Tufanye kitu kinaitwa kuwafunza wakulima. Kwa sababu ukiangalia nchi yetu bado ni changa. Especially in the sector of agriculture, na ukiangalia mchanga wetu saizi ndio unaanza kuchoka. Umekuwa na rotuba, the White Islands have been doing very well, but now being farmed for miaka 50, then it tells you that the soil starts getting tired. Okay, so tunajua kuwa hii itakuwa ni a very important service kwa every farmer to do, and it's very beneficial. And I would want to speak to the farmers outside there and people practicing agriculture is that I will give you an example. Tumetumia shilingi 7,000 tukanunua fertilizer. Kununua fertilizer lakini pH yetu haifanyi vyema, kwa hivyo iko chini sana. Kwa hivyo fertilizer ile yote nitaweka pale, mmea hautaweza kuvuta. Kwa hivyo 7,000 yangu yote imeenda chini. Lakini kama ningekuwa nimeinvest kidogo nikafanya soil pH soil testing, ngejua pH yangu kidogo iko poa, na ningeinvest sana na measures za increase my pH so that I can manage my soil and tusitumie pesa nyingi. Kwa hivyo ninge manage pH na mmea iweze kumanage or to use the nutrients already in the soil.
You've mentioned lack of awareness from the farmer side as one of the reasons as to why soil testing is not being done as much as it should be. However, speaking from a country where agriculture is the backbone of our economy and contributes highly to our GDP, I feel like that is maybe an embarrassing, way to go through the whole spectrum of agriculture. So what more, besides the lack of awareness from our farmers, is the hindrance that is making us not exploit something as useful as soil testing? And that's when I'd also like to know, are your services affordable to a starting farmer or a farmer who doesn't have so much of a financial flex? What other hindrances are there in between?
So the biggest hindrance is usually the service delivery. So mnavyojua wengi wenu ukitaka kufanya soil testing, when you have to come all the way to probably around the cities and in areas where we have the portable soil testing devices, then it takes quite a long time before the service gets to you. So one is building around an infrastructure, and how can delivery of this service be very efficient. Number two is the policies that the government is creating, and would like to thank Murang'a County government for, and the multi-stakeholder platform for climate smart agriculture. Now, wamekuwa wakipush sana, how can we take this education closer to the farmer? How can we take this service closer to the farmer? And with that, headed in that trajectory, then we are going to improve the delivery of this service, and people are going to be aware of it.
Kuna wale ambao labda hawana nafasi ya kukufikia wewe na umepata nafasi leo kuzungumza katika Kenya's Gold. Wakati na kwenda shambani kuchukua udongo kwa shughuli ya kupima, anachukua kutoka pande ngapi yuyo, na kisha baadaye ukipeleka kwenye maabara au lab unarudisha baada ya siku ngapi?
Okay. Kwa hivyo nitaanza na siku. So teknolojia inaendelea ikisonga. So tumeona in different ways. Kitambo tulikuwa tunapanga pale, ukitaka driving license unapanga line, siku hizi ni pale online unapata driving license immediately. As well in that sector pia soil testing imeendelea tu ikiprogress, that unaweza pimiwa mchanga shambani na ukapata results pale pale. Na ndio tunaendelea kusema kuwa that this service itakuwa available kwa the nearest agrovet towards you, and if you are an agro dealer and you're serving a particular area, you can reach out to us and you get these kits and you're able to get this service. And on the soil testing, the kufanya sampling, shamba tunafanya sampling, and at least 1 acre 1 sample. Na kutoka hapo unachora line yako, unachora zigzag. So kwa hiyo sehemu uko nayo ukichora zigzag, then utaenda ukichimba about 10 to 15 centimeters, and you take from one point unachukua about 100 grams. So in total at every single particular point, and they should be ideally between 9 to 12 areas where you're going to sample. So that will collectively represent that 1 acre.
Great. Now let's borrow from our feature that we started the show with, where we saw Ndirangu using organic manure as what he's using in the farm. And of course, organic manure is one of the ways we are trying to improve our soil health. How are we supposed to use that organic manure? Should I go directly from my cows? I take the manure and take it directly to my farm. How should I prepare it to make sure that I get the best out of it?
So manure can be your friend and can be your enemy. As Ndirangu had said, if you do not mix the manure well, it will start corroding the roots. And ideally, there is a process we call composting, so that you can take your manure from being manure to actually being an organic fertilizer. That process takes about 30 to 45 days. And once you collect your manure, heap them together, and then you need to keep on continuously turning. Okay, so you keep on turning it. After probably 3-4 days, you keep on turning it until it's well particularized. So isikuwe imeshikana, vile tunajua manure inakuwa imeshikana, ikuwe a very fine kind of grain, then that's what you can apply. Then we have people who have biogas. Wanatumia wako na plant ya biogas pale kwa nyumbani. Whatever is coming out from the biogas is also very good organic fertilizer. Give it about 2 weeks to dry up, put it into your plant.
Okay. So for the compost, when you're converting your manure to the compost, turning it for some time, are we covering it? And if we are, what are we using to make sure it's covered?
Yes, it should be covered. You can use these nylon papers out, and if you probably you can also have the sheds. There are people who actually build a shed where they keep on piling their manure and also turning at that particular point. So the covering is especially very important during the rainy season, so that it does not hold so much water. Yeah.
Wakati ule umeeleza kwa upana sana, na nadhani kwamba ni radhi tu kupongeze kwa hilo, lakini sasa kumechukua kwa maabara ule udongo. Ni nini hasa unaenda kuchunguza wewe wakati umechukua udongo wako, na nitajuaje kwamba udongo wangu haufai kutumika kwa upanzi?
Okay. Tusiende udongo wangu ufai kutumika kwa upanzi, kwa sababu pia tukienda pale hospitali tuambiwa tuna malaria, tuambiwa sasa wewe mambo yako
ni kutibu sasa.
Ni kutibu sasa. So kitu ya kwanza ni tunaangalia what we call nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, the soil pH, the soil electrical conductivity, and those are the major points that we also you look into. After about 2 years, you need to do a full soil testing, comprehensive, where you also look at the micronutrients. Zinakuanga muhimu sana, especially in the growth of plants. So those are the 5 major things that you need to keep tabs on your farm at least every season. Then the micronutrients by seasons.
Okay.
Great. We are having a fantastic conversation right here with Derek Ngigi on all matters fruit farming and soil testing. We're not yet done because when we come back, we want to find out for fruit farming, are we able to do intercropping? And also, what are some of the ways we can implement to make sure that we are doing minimal soil disturbance? All that and a lot more after this short commercial break. Do not go anywhere.